Revealed, the miraculous life of Esau's forgotten wife, a shocking testament of divine redemption. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, Judith found herself standing amidst the turmoil of Canaan, a land steeped in idolatry and vibrant with the echoes of ancient promises. As a Canaanite woman wed to Esau, the son of Isaac, she felt the unique weight of her heritage pressing upon her heart. The scent of burnt offerings wafted heavily from the high places where heathen rituals took place, and with each sacrifice made to Baal, Judith winced, the pangs of divided loyalty crashing over her soul like relentless waves. Among the dusty paths and rocky hills, she found herself at the crossroads of two worlds. Her husband's lineage held the glory of Abraham's covenant, while the allure of her culture beckoned uncertain. Judith had lived with the knowledge that acceptance was gifted only to the children of the promise. She longed to embrace the one true God, Yahweh, yet the darkness surrounding her seemed ever suffocating. Her nights were marked by unspoken tension, as the shadows of her husband's familial strife loomed larger. It was evident that Esau felt the sting of favoritism from Isaac towards his younger brother Jacob, who had stolen his rightful blessing. Judith's heart ached for her husband, caught in the throes of betrayal and anger. She could perceive the fury brewing within him, threatening to consume not just Jacob but their family. In the stillness of those long nights, Judith whispered prayers into the dark, beseeching Yahweh with fervent cries, "God of my husband's father, grant me grace, lead me from the shadows into your light." Stories of faith from ages past filled her mind, of Abraham's unwavering trust and Isaac's quiet strength. Would she, a woman born of Canaan, find a place amidst those granted divine favor? As the days turned, Judith observed as a storm brewed, Esau's indignation grew stiff and sharp. "I will take my birthright back," she heard him murmur, righteous anger curling around his words like the smoke of sacrifices made in vain. Judith trembled at the thought of violence, at the fear of darkness encroaching upon their family. "Esau," she ventured, heart racing as she reached out to him, "remember the covenant that binds our family to the Almighty. Let us not forsake our lineage for a moment of anger." The air between them crackled as he turned, an unspoken understanding settling into place. Her words were infused with the authority of heaven. She yearned for what she could not see but had faith would come. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. In the realm of her heart, Judith felt a light emerge, flickering amid heavy darkness. As the mountains stood solemnly in the distance, she clung to the hope that perhaps her plea would soften Esau's heart, to prevent the impending fracture of family ties. Would Yahweh respond to her cries for peace? In this moment of fervent supplication, the choices before them shimmered with divine potential. With uncertainty and hope swirling like a tempest, Judith's story hung in the balance, leaving her yearning for resolution amid the raw passion of faith, cultural strife, and divine promise. Would Esau heed her call, forging a new path, or would the storm within claim their love and legacy forever? As the sun rose languidly over the rugged hills of Canaan, Judith felt the weight of a new day bearing down upon her. The horizon was painted in hues of orange and gold, yet within her heart, shadows deepened. She took a moment to marvel at the beauty surrounding her while grappling with the tumult inside. The balance of faith and fear teetered precariously on the edge of her consciousness. A gentle wind whispered among the trees, beckoning her to trust in the faithful promises of Yahweh. Esau ambled restlessly outside their tent, his heavy footsteps reverberating like thunder in Judith's chest. She observed him, muscles taut with anger and a furrowed brow etched deep from nights filled with sleepless dread. His fingers clenched the hilt of a dagger, its metal glinted ominously in the morning light. Although he had sworn to confront Jacob, Judith felt an urgency welling within her spirit to intervene once more. "Esau," she called tenderly, her voice cutting through the early silence like the sharpness of his intention. He turned slowly, eyes flickering with the embers of rage and pain. My heart aches for you, my husband, she continued, stepping closer. The path you tread is fraught with destruction. Would you allow the flames of a moment's offense to consume the bond of our kinship? Remember the promises spoken unto your forefathers, that our lineage would be as the stars in the sky. Her words hung between them, pregnant with hope, yet laden with fear. Judith, he said slowly, anguish evident. Jacob has robbed me. My blessing, my birthright. Shall I let it go unavenged? The storm inside him swirled more violently, as if struggling to break free, but Judith pressed on, emboldened by the weight of her convictions. Yahweh has seen you through the wilderness, has he not? He has given you plains on which to stand and mountains to grow strong. Let us reconcile and seek the Lord's counsel. Her heart raced, knowing their futures hung in the balance, the delicate thread of their family's legacy wavering in the winds of choice. Esau shifted, his posture wavering like the shifting sands. In his heart, a battle raged, a struggle between fleshly desires for vengeance and the call of the Almighty to walk in mercy. Judith's unwavering gaze pierced through the shrouded darkness, seeking to draw out the remnants of hope buried deep in her husband's heart. I do not wish to be a cause of more bloodshed, he finally murmured, as the dagger fell from his hand, clattering against the stones. But my honor, my birthright. How shall I face our father? Yahweh sees the heart, she replied, her voice steady as she clasped his hands in hers. And he will provide the way, even amidst this strife. Perhaps it is time to seek Jacob not in anger but in humility. Approach him with the heart of a brother, turning chaos into peace. Her faith echoed through the stillness, rippling outward as a seed sent forth to bloom. In that moment, a flicker of understanding ignited within Esau's gaze, a realization that vengeance may bleed the bond of brotherhood dry and splinter their family forever. Will you go with me? He whispered, hope beginning to curl timidly around his spirit, like the tendrils of a vine reaching towards the light. Judith's heart leaped. Together, we will seek reconciliation, Esau. For in unity, there is strength, and in forgiveness, there is a glimpse of our sovereign God's perfect plan. As she watched Esau's resolve slowly build, a feeling as old as time washed over Judith, a sense that something greater was unfolding, a divine tapestry of redemption being woven through their lives. The road before them would be fraught with trials, yet within it lingered the promise of restoration. Little did Judith know that this journey toward reconciliation would set a course not merely for their family but would echo through generations, carving a pathway for the light of the covenant to shine brighter in their lineage. As they prepared to leave, Judith felt the ethereal warmth of a whisper of promise lingering in the air. The time had come for God's plan to unfurl, leading them to a crossroads more significant than either could imagine, a turning point that would change the course of history forever. As Esau and Judith set out on the path toward their brother, the air grew heavy with anticipation, a sacred tension thickened by the footfalls of their journey. The hills of Canaan sprawled before them, an expanse known to their ancestors, teeming with divine promise. The weight of centuries held their steps, each tuft of grass and stone on the road was imbued with stories of Isaac and Abraham, reminders of the covenant blessings flowing through their veins. Judith, Esau spoke softly, his voice quaking with the ghosts of doubts. What if Jacob does not receive me? What if he still harbors hatred from our past? Fear not, she replied, her heart fueled by faith. For remember, the Lord told Isaac, I will bless you and multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven, Genesis 26 verse 4. We go not just as estranged brothers but as vessels of that very promise. God desires peace to reign even in the most broken of relationships. They journeyed onward, the sun casting long shadows over undulating landscapes, illuminating the road in flickers of gold. With each step, Esau felt the heavy armor of vengeance lift from his soul, replaced by a cloak of humility that Judith had woven through her unwavering faith. As they approached the land of Seir, a rustle in the thicket caught Esau's attention. The harsh breath of memories clawed at him, the bitter-sweet stings of betrayal fresh, yet the resolve simmered beneath his skin to let the past lie. Would it be forever unburied? In the distance, they spotted a figure in the plains, a man whom Esau instantly recognized the silhouette of Jacob, cloaked in familial authority, yet shadowed by years of separation. Esau's heart raced with turmoil, the complexities of anger and love collided within him violently. Judith felt the tempest within him and grasped his arm. "Breathe, beloved. Let us approach him in brotherhood. This is how restoration begins." As they drew nearer, Jacob turned, his eyes widened as he beheld his brother, the years etched deeply into their faces, frayed bonds now held by faith and courage. "Esau!" Jacob exclaimed, his voice a mixture of disbelief and apprehension. "Is it truly you?" With a heart pounding, Esau stepped forward, the distance crossing more than just ground. "Brother," he uttered, the word held tightly within the quivering chest he bore. The air crackled with the weight of unspoken words, past grievances hammering against the walls of reconciliation. Judith watched intently, a silent prayer stumbling forth to heaven, for the course of their family history rested precariously on a knife's edge. "Esau, I am unworthy of your forgiveness. I have wronged you deeply," Jacob confessed, stepping forward, his hands outstretched in humility. "I sought what should never have been mine. I have prayed for your safety, for God's grace to reunite us now." As Jacob advanced, Esau cast his eyes downward for a moment, where the earth bore witness to his heart's conflict. Then, with a quick and resolute motion, he embraced Jacob, long-cherished resentment forged anew in love. The sorrow of years escaped them both, like a river breaking through a dam. Judith stood aside, a quiet witness to the stirring of renewed kinship, marveling at the power of grace being poured forth. The heavens rejoiced, for what was lost had begun to find its way back, stitched gently into the fabric of family. "Indeed, the hand of God goes before us," she whispered under her breath, recognizing the holy significance of the moment. But as joy enveloped them, shadows lurked behind, remnants of a past that were not so easily forgotten. Little did they know, the divine story interwoven with theirs was only beginning. Their journey had transcended beyond mere reconciliation, for prophetic whispers fluttered in the wind, an unseen plan unfurling that would crack the heavens wide open, reaching forth through generations. Yet the winds carried more than mere whispers, they teased the air with the promise of divine intervention, urging them forward. For God was not only reconciling they who were once divided but preparing a lineage through which the world would witness the embodiment of divine purpose and grace. And as the brothers stood reunited, ready to face the future forged in mercy, the time drew near for God's greater promise to be realized, stretching beyond their current understanding into the vast depths of His unfathomable sovereignty. What lay ahead for Esau and Jacob, no one could foresee, except for the one who watched over all. Jacob and Esau stood locked in embrace, the warmth of forgiveness washing over them like a cleansing torrent. Each brother felt the tender thread of compassion entwining their hearts, stitching together scars left by past betrayals. Judith, with a heart attuned to the movement of the Spirit, stepped back and observed, marveling at the boundless mercy reflected in their reunion. "Let us establish a feast," Jacob suggested with a voice ignited by joy. "For today, we have found one another anew. It is a day for rejoicing, and for giving thanks to the God of our fathers." Esau nodded, hope illuminating his counts like midday's sun over the hills of Canaan. "Indeed, let us gather our households," he replied. "For this is a new beginning, and I desire to share it with all who dwell under our tents." As they began to prepare, the air echoed with laughter, and even the fretting memories seemed to recede into shadows, like a receding tide. Judith busied herself gathering fruits from nearby trees, amazed at the beauty of God's creation surrounding her. Yet, within her spirit, a stirring grew, an ancient whisper beckoning her to seek deeper understanding. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky with hues of crimson and gold, they sat beneath the shade of ancient oaks. With bread laid before them and wine poured into chalices, they at last began to speak intimately and reflectively, recounting the stories of their fathers and the promises enshrined in their heritage. But amidst the revelry, Judith's heart remained restless. "Jacob, Esau," she gently interrupted, "let us not only dwell on our past, but consider what is to come. In your reconciliation, God has poured forth a miraculous blessing. There is yet a purpose unfolding through your embrace. The brothers listened intently, the truth of her words resonating deeply within their hearts. Esau, with his rough hands and warrior's spirit, softened further still. "What do you see, beloved Judith? What has the Lord shown you?" "I see a lineage," Judith answered, her voice steady, yet imbued with tremors of awe. "A line that stretches beyond the fields of Canaan, reaching the hearts of nations yet unnamed. Through you both, the torrents of God's grace and mercy shall flow, and his faithfulness will be renowned throughout the earth." Jacob's eyes shimmered with realization, and he spoke, "Indeed, the Lord has not forgotten me or my blessings. The covenant is not solely for me, nor for Esau alone, but for our descendants and those they will lead. The promise made to Abraham for through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed, Genesis 22 verse 18, starts anew this very day." Esau raised a chalice, filled with sweet wine. "Then let us drink to the future, to the children who shall inherit our reconciled hearts and carry the legacy woven by God. May they know the love that transformed us. May they be instruments of divine purpose," Judith added, raising her own cup. The clink of their chalices echoed through the trees, a sound of unity that shimmered against the backdrop of twilight. But just then, as they offered a chorus of gratitude, a tension fell upon the air. The wind shifted, carrying an ominous note that none could ignore. In the distance, dark clouds began to gather, cloaking the horizon. An unsettling chill swept through the branches, and the joyous laughter turned into cautious whispers. Little did they know, even within their moment of triumph, the foundations of their legacy were already being challenged. For beyond the hills, others stirred nations that sought not peace but war, destinies that were intertwined in ways unseen. Thus, as they feasted and rejoiced, even in their newfound brotherhood, the unfolding of God's sovereign plan remained shrouded in mystery and turmoil. In the midst of blessings, what unseen trials awaited? And so the promise hung before them like a star veiled in the night, fragile yet indomitable, beckoning them toward the greater story God was tirelessly composing for their lineage and for the world. What lay ahead was veiled in divine intrigue, the unfolding chapters pregnant with destiny awaiting revelation. As the chilling winds swirled around them, Jacob's heart quickened, sensing the weight of the moment more than ever. He turned to Esau, whose brow furrowed as the shadows darkened under the oaks. "My brother," Jacob said, determination welling up within him, "let us not be led by fear but by the spirit of our father, Abraham. Are we to face the unknown with hearts bold?" Esau questioned, glancing toward the horizon where the clouds gathered ominously, like the armies of old, ready to clash. "Indeed," Jacob replied, a look of steadfastness transforming his features. "For our very reconciliation is a testament of God's grace. We shall stand firm, for we carry the promise. The Lord Almighty has walked with us across deserts and valleys, he shall not forsake us now." Then Judith felt that divine stirring bolden within her. The whispers of the Spirit enveloped her heart, urging her to call forth the dreams hidden deep within. "Brothers," she interjected with fervor, "even as darkness looms, let us declare the truth that is within us. Let us recount the visions the Lord had bestowed upon us. A plan yet unfulfilled." Esau shook his head slightly, quickening his pace. "I have fought many battles, yet this war feels different. The hearts of men are wily and treacherous. We have but recently found reconciliation, how can we dare to face another trial so soon?" Judith stepped forward, her heart aflame. "It is exactly at this juncture of grace and fear that our true faith shall be tested. Do you not remember how our forefathers trusted in the promise given to Abraham? How they journeyed into lands unknown because they clung to the covenant of God? Abraham did not falter," Jacob added, drawing strength from the memory of their ancestor's unwavering faith. "And we are his descendants. Shall we not claim the mantle given to us? The trials of the future will refine us, like silver tested by fire." Then, rising from the depths of his being, Esau felt the strength of resolve swell within him. "Let us not cower before the shadows. If the Lord be our stronghold, we shall prevail." But tell me, Judith, what vision do you bear? Judith inhaled deeply, sensing the weight of prophetic words soon to take flight. I see a day dawning, a valley full of people from every tribe and nation, drawn to the God of our fathers through a lineage that includes us. A lineage that transcends the battles we face. As she spoke, the heavens crackled above them, and sudden lightning illuminated the sky. The fierce winds had become a deafening roar, yet encapsulated within it was a whisper meant solely for their ears. Do not fear, for I am with you, do not be dismayed, for I am your God, Isaiah 41 verse 10. In that moment, the brothers felt an electrifying assurance, as if the weight of divine promise cascaded over them. With renewed purpose, they turned towards the encroaching clouds, ready to face whatever would come their way. For they were no longer simply Jacob and Esau, they were vessels of God's unfolding plan, surrounded by the unseen realms. Yet, as they stood resolute, beneath the fruition of their reconciliation lay a deeper mystery, the hidden narratives of those whose lives intertwined with theirs. For there were whispers of Esau's wife, buried in the shadows, whose heart held a story yet untold, a testimony of divine redemption set to emerge when the time had come. What lay ahead would reveal not only the strength of brotherhood but also the intricacies of God's sovereign narrative, interwoven within every life encountered. And thus, the intrigue thickened, for who would come forth from the future to claim their place in this divine tapestry? As the winds howled and the skies darkened overhead, Jacob and Esau stood resolute, heartened by Judith's prophetic words. The air grew thick with tension and expectancy, as if the heavens themselves leaned in to witness the sacred moment unfolding. Brothers, Jacob spoke with a voice imbued with divine authority, the promise given to Abraham spans generations. Each trial we face, each crossroads we encounter, is but a stone laid in the foundation of God's everlasting covenant. Esau nodded, still feeling the tremor of doubt, yet something stirred within him, a burgeoning hope, like a flame rekindled. Then let us walk together into this unknown realm, fortified by the unbreakable bond of our lineage. May our hearts beat as one, united under the banner of our God. Judith, emboldened by the Spirit, lifted her eyes to the heavens. And so we shall, she declared. For we carry the weight of both our past and the hope of our future. The divine architect has woven us into his tapestry for a purpose that transcends our understanding. With renewed fervor, they stepped forward, the shadows parting before them as they advanced into the encroaching storm. Strange it was, how the winds which once seemed ominous now felt like the breath of divine encouragement. As they entered into a clearing, vividly illuminated by a tremulous bolt of lightning, a figure appeared from amongst the scattered oaks, draped in garments of simplicity, yet radiating an ethereal glow. It was Ada, the beloved wife of Esau. The unexpected sight brought a hush over the brothers, they had not previously spoken of her in the days of reconciliation. Ada, Esau breathed, awe flaring within his chest. My husband, my brothers, she responded, her voice steady as the wild winds encircled them. Know that I have been granted a vision in these hours of darkness. The Lord has called to me in dreams, revealing a lineage yet hidden, a child of promise destined to bring forth a multitude. Jacob felt a shiver course through him, for the weight of her proclamation felt prophetic. What do you mean, dear sister-in-law? How is it that our lineage holds yet another promise? I have perceived a child of valor, Ada continued, her eyes shining with the light of revelation. Not just a descendant of our family, but one who shall unite warring tribes and draw both light and shadow into harmony. His name shall be spoken from the mountains to the valleys, a beacon in times of strife. Esau stepped forward, his heart responding to her words. This child, does he bring forth union? Will he heal the rift that separates nations? Yes, Ada affirmed, each word imbued with divine purpose. For he shall rise from our seed, intertwining destinies across generations. The Lord shall move through him, for his story is entwined with those yet to honor his name. In that moment, a wave of understanding swept over them, the full impact of their recent reconciliation brightening against the promise of what was to unfold. The realization sank deep: this child born of their line would be part of a greater narrative, one leading to hope for all nations, speaking of God's enduring love and desire for redemption. But must we wait for this child? Judith questioned, her heart soaring amidst the weight of revelation. What must we do until then? Ada gestured toward the horizon, where the storm clouds began to break apart, revealing the light of a new dawn. It is not in waiting alone, but in preparation. Each step we take now must embody the strength of our faith. Together, we must nurture the seeds of our legacy, for the God who calls us to such tasks is faithful, and his timing is perfect. As they stood together, three hearts entwined under the contention of both earthly trials and divine promise, a sense of urgency enveloped them. The shadows had not vanished, yet within them glimmered the hope and assurance that a grander plan was unfolding. And so they departed from that sacred spot, the whisper of destiny echoing in their hearts as the winds carried their prayers heavenward. For though the journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty, they understood that they were part of a divine tapestry whose threads were woven by the hand of God, a tapestry that would reveal the fullness of a covenant not just for themselves, but for generations to come. Yet, even as they ventured forth into the unknown, lingering questions remained. What trials would they face? What other figures stood to emerge in this unfolding narrative? Indeed, who among them would rise to fulfill the sacred promise? The mystery of God's sovereign plan deepened, and with it, the urgency of their journey grew all the more pressing. As dawn broke, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, Jacob, Esau, and Ada walked with purpose, the words spoken leaving indelible marks upon their hearts. The landscape around them transformed from shadows into light, echoing the hope within them, yet their footsteps bore the weight of anticipation and uncertainty. Let us not falter, Jacob urged, his gaze fixed ahead, for they had not ventured far before an encampment of their people came into view. He could sense the stirrings among the families gathered, their familiar faces, yet each marked by trials of their own. Esau's heart tightened. We return not just as brothers but as heralds of what lies ahead. How shall we convey this mysterious promise? His voice trembled with both fear and excitement. Ada laid her hand gently upon his arm. With faith, my love. It shall be our testimony, the greatness of the Lord and the hope of the child that shall unite us. As they approached the encampment, a figure emerged from the tent, their father, Isaac, aged yet adorned with the blessed creases of wisdom. His eyes brightened at the sight of his sons, a smile breaking through the furrows of time. My sons! You return. What tidings do you bring? Father, Jacob spoke boldly, the Lord has spoken through Ada, revealing a child of promise destined to bring healing and unity. Silence fell over the gathering, as whispers of intrigue rippled through the crowd. Isaac's expression shifted to one of solemn contemplation. A child? From whom does this promise emerge? From our lineage, Esau replied, his heart pounding with the magnitude of his words. It is a declaration of hope, a guiding light for our people and the nations that shall follow. A declaration indeed, Isaac mused, his voice heavy with the weight of their history. Yet be mindful, my sons, of the challenges that accompany such revelations. The path to fulfillment is often fraught with trials wrought by doubt and fear. As they shared their revelation, a mixture of belief and skepticism filled the air. The clan, once divided, wrestled with the encouragement of Ada's vision, grappling with their own stories intertwined with uncertainty. Ada stepped forth, fiery determination illuminating her face. Let not your hearts be troubled. The God of our fathers does not simply make promises, he fulfills them. Prepare your hearts, for change is upon us. A grizzled elder among the camp, Jacob's uncle, voiced a question that penetrated the atmosphere like an arrow. And what then shall we do? Shall we wait in idle silence for this child? What actions will bring forth this promise? Esau stepped forward, emboldened. We shall lead by faith. We will nurture our families, cultivate our lands, and protect our communities, teaching our children to embrace the covenant of our God. Israel shall not await passively, Jacob continued, recalling the trials of their forefathers and the faith that carried them beyond despair. As God commanded Abraham, so too we must bless the world by our deeds, showing forth his glory. The murmurs of agreement grew, as hearts ignited with the charge of labor. Their unity strengthened their resolve, the air seemed to vibrate with purpose. Each act of kindness, every moment of courage resonated like seeds planted, awaiting the touch of divine fulfillment. As the sun climbed higher, casting away the shadows of the night, God's presence became palpable, a promise resounding in their collective spirit. But as they prepared their souls and hearts, an unanticipated cloud settled upon the horizon, a cloud of uncertainty overshadowed the dawning hope. Disturbing news emerged: a rival tribe encroaching upon their lands, threats of violence hanging in the air. What does this mean? Ada's voice rose above the din, resonating with the wisdom of her vision. Must we contend with this challenge? The promise we hold is great, yet trials align with our calling. Fear not. Isaac proclaimed, rising to his full height, commanding silence again. For in these challenges, we shall find those destined to walk alongside us in unity. God's hand directs our steps, molding not only our paths but the very hearts of those who oppose us. As these words settled upon the gathered people, a sense of divine purpose emerged. The promise of fulfillment called through the storm, igniting courage where once there was doubt. Yet within the depths of their anticipation lingered an enigmatic question: what trials would emerge to forge their destinies? What connections would be revealed in the heart of adversity? Little did they know, the very trials they feared would be the crucible through which the child of promise would rise, bringing revelation and redemption beyond their comprehension. For even as they prepared for the shadowed threats ahead, the whisper of God's sovereign plan wove through them, beckoning that in unity, their strength would be unleashed to fulfill what the heavens proclaimed. As the murmur of anxiety coursed through the gathering like a swift shadow, Jacob felt his heart quicken with the weight of impending strife. "Let us draw near to the altar of the Lord," he called out, his voice steadied by purpose, "for in prayer shall we seek guidance and strength to confront that which looms before us." Ada nodded fervently, her spirit ignited with the resolve of her vision. "Indeed, let us lift our cries to the Almighty, for He is our fortress. He shall not abandon us in this hour of need." The people formed a circle, standing shoulder to shoulder, hearts beating as one, their hands raised toward the heavens. Isaac, at the center, began to pray, his voice deep and unwavering. "O Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, hear our petition. In a time of uncertainty, grant us clarity, in fear, grant us courage, and in our trials, grant us strength. Unite our hearts as we face our brethren, that through thy grace, we may emerge victorious." The sun poured its warm glow upon them as they prayed, and a stillness fell, a presence enveloped the gathering, flowing over them like a wave of peace amidst tumult. Jacob sensed a stirring in his soul, as if the very air whispered promises of protection. "Brothers and sisters," Jacob said, his voice resonating with newfound vigor, "it is not merely our land they seek, it is the promise implanted within us. We are the bearers of hope, the heralds of a new beginning. Shall we allow ourselves to be shackled by fear, or rise with the strength given by our God?" A chorus of affirmations erupted from the assembly, hearts steeling against the incoming tide. Esau, emboldened by his brother's words, stepped forward, his eyes aflame. "Let us conquer with faith our rivals, and prepare our households in readiness. We are not defenders alone but are called to be instruments of peace." Ada stepped beside him, her voice ringing true. "For every battle waged must also carry the song of love and unity. We shall show mercy even unto our enemies, for the promise of our God demands nothing less. We fight not just for ourselves but for the generations to come." As the sun dipped, casting a golden hue upon their encampment, a figure emerged at the edge of the gathering, cloaked in shadows. The tension rippled through the people as they turned towards the stranger, sensing the disruption in the air, alert to the intentions of those who approached. "It is I, Laban," the figure said, revealing himself with an authoritative stance, "who comes not to challenge but to offer counsel. I have heard of your plight and sought you out. The encroaching tribe grows restless, yet I see in your eyes the fervor of a united people. What counsel can you offer, Laban?" Isaac inquired, cautious yet intrigued by the man's presence. "Seek peace, rather than war. I know the hearts of your adversaries, they, too, know the weight of promises and dreams. Use this knowledge," Laban implored, his voice low and persuasive, to forge an alliance instead of enmity, for the child of promise must arise out of unity, not bloodshed. The crowd murmured, uncertainty knitting their brows as they weighed Laban's words. Jacob felt a stirring within, a whisper pushing against his thoughts. "And what assurance do we have that this is not a trap?" he asked, skepticism lacing his tone. "You have my word," Laban replied, earnest in his gaze. "However frail, it is better than swords crossing in dusk's embrace. Move not in haste, but let prayer guide your counsel." The air thickened with an uneasy anticipation, hearts were torn between the instinct to protect and the wisdom of reconciliation. Ada's face lit with understanding as she declared, "This is the very heart of our promise. God's will for us may very well lie in the agreement we seek. Let us humbly intercede." Isaac felt the charge in her words and spoke over the gathering, "If we stand together, if we trust in the strength of our unity, let us follow this path of peace, and through it, perhaps the child of destiny shall reveal their purpose." As the sun finally sank below the horizon, drawing a curtain of twilight across the land, a sense of both hope and apprehension held the community captive. They would lean into uncertainty together, yet they grasped the promise that whispered through the ages, echoing the assurance that their divine story was yet unfolding. And in that pregnant stillness, a formidable truth lingered in the air. Though trials would assail them, the journey of their lives intertwined was ordained by a sovereign hand, drawing closer to the revelation of a destiny beyond their imagining. For what they could not yet see, loomed as a sacred tapestry woven with trials and triumphs, all paving the way for the miraculous life yet to come, a story where their fates collided with God's eternal promise, beyond the veil of understanding. As the dimness of evening settled over the camp, the air crackled with unspoken fears and fervent hopes. The gathered families, clinging to their faith as autumn leaves cling to their branches, felt the weight of Laban's words like a mantle. In this sacred stillness, Jacob stepped forward, considering the worth of alliance over violence. "I hear the wisdom in your voice, Laban," Jacob said, his tone earnest. "Yet tell us, what evidence bears witness to your trustworthiness? For in this hour, we stand upon the brink, for the fate of our lineage hangs in balance. Shall we lay our swords aside without assurance of safety?" Laban's eyes sparked with an inner light, a flicker of divine truth. In unity lies strength, as the scriptures affirm in Ecclesiastes 4 verses 9 to 10, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. Forge a bond, and from this union, confront the darkness that seeks to overtake you." The community stirred, the words resonating deep within, awakening the ancient whispers of hope. Esau, a man of great stature, stepped forward once more, raising his hands. "Let us not only seek peace but also offer open hearts. For though we share our supplications for protection, it is in love that our strength is made perfect." Jacob turned towards his brother, recognizing the spark of divine truth igniting in Esau's soul. "You speak wisely, brother, and mayhap our journey does call for hearts that beat not merely with fear, but with the anticipation of what God is yet to do among us." As they deliberated, the moon rose high, hanging like a silver lantern in the night sky, casting its glow over the land. A sense of urgency was palpable in the air, for they knew that the gathering storm of adversaries loomed near. Ada, radiant as the morning star, interjected with fervor, "Noble men and women, the Lord has been our shield. He directed our forefathers, leading them through fire and flood. Shall we not follow in the footpath of faith? It is not our will but His that shall unfold the tapestry of our lives. For as it is written in Psalm 46 verse 1, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble." With each word, clarity sharpened in the hearts of the assembly, and murmurs of agreement danced through the air like golden leaves in the wind. Laban raised his hands in recognition of their resolve. "Then it is decided. Consult the Lord in prayer once more, that He may illuminate our path toward this intended peace." In obedience, they fell to their knees in heartfelt supplication, their voices rising in unison as they implored the Almighty for guidance. As the night deepened, a heaviness settled over Jacob, and he found himself wrestling with the heavens in prayer, a struggle both physical and spiritual, reflecting the moment of Genesis 32 verses 24 to 30. Lord, reveal thy will. Grant thy servant clarity in this tumult. His words echoed in fervent entreaty. And lo, a hush fell over the land, and a presence descended upon him as if the very veil of heaven had parted. Jacob's heart raced, for in that moment, he felt the nearness of God's abiding promise. The darkness of doubt and fear began to melt away under the warm light of divine assurance. Suddenly, amidst the cool night air, a thought echoed within him: what if their journey toward unity was more than preservation? What if it led to a revelation of a child destined to become the blessing that would turn nations? Just as dawn breaks from the night, a spark of realization ignited within Jacob. He rose, his eyes flashing with conviction. Brothers and sisters, I have heard the voice of the Lord. This is not merely a path toward peace, but a divine orchestration, a call to forge an everlasting legacy from strength and love. And around him, a collective heartbeat rose, anticipation pulsing through their ranks, for they sensed, though not yet fully understood, that they were on the precipice of something greater. For within the shadows of challenge lurked the glory of God's redemptive plan, whispering promises yet to be fulfilled, and lives to be unveiled, a destiny entwined with the miraculous life awaiting its revelation in the days to come. How profound was the truth, yet veiled in mystery, that their battle was not solely against flesh and blood but against forces entrapped in spiritual darkness, preparing the way for a manifestation of grace yet unseen. As the dawn broke over the encampment, washing the world anew with resplendent light, Jacob, Esau, and Judah sensed a shift in the very atmosphere around them. The echo of their united prayers hung palpably in the air, amplifying the vibrancy of hope that had taken root among them. Each heart beat with divine expectancy, as a moment of revelation loomed just on the horizon. Standing before the assembly, adorned with the mantle of prophetic call, Jacob addressed his people, the gathered souls under the vast expanse of heaven. Brothers and sisters, he proclaimed, this is the day the Lord has made. We stand on the threshold of legacy and promise, with the hand of God guiding us through the uncertainty. Judah stepped beside him, her presence a testament to the steadfast faith they were cultivating within their hearts. Through our unity, we become a vessel for God's purpose. Today, let us move forward, not as separate tribes caught in strife, but as one family knitted together under the promises of Yahweh. Our child of promise will carry the legacy of healing and hope. Esau, emboldened by Judith's fervor, echoed with conviction. Let us seek out our enemies, not with swords drawn, but with the assurance that mercy begets mercy. It is time to unearth the potential of this covenant, for we are destined for greatness. Our reconciled hearts carry the power to heal both our own wounds and those of our adversaries. As murmurs of agreement surged through the crowd, their spirits ignited by passion, Laban offered a suggestion. Gather your families, unite your voices, and let us approach this rival tribe. With humility as our banner, we shall seek peace before conflict arises. With a newfound unity weaving amongst the people, Jacob took the lead, his conviction guiding the march toward the enemies, descending from the hill to confront the darkness that lurked ahead. The sun illuminated their path, casting vibrant hues of gold on the terrain, proof that divine favor accompanied them. As they approached the rival encampment, each step resonated with purpose, lives intertwined with the eternal promise echoing through their lineage. Yet they did not merely walk as Jacob, Esau, and Judah, they walked as a multitude united, hearts anchored in the covenant that bound their destinies. Finally reaching the formidable camp, tensions flickered through the air, yet they bore witness to the transformation that had taken place within. Jacob raised his voice, steady and steadying. O brethren, we come not as enemies, but as brothers seeking peace. The God of our fathers beckons us to reconciliation, a springboard for healing and unity. At the center of the rival tribe stood a stoic figure, Nimrod, a battle-hardened leader. He turned to meet Jacob's eyes, studying the sincerity etched on his countenance. With the weight of years marking his brow, he deliberated, the scars of past conflicts weighing heavy on his heart. Why should I trust in your words? Nimrod responded, doubt heavy in his voice. Your people have wronged mine. How do I know you do not come seeking revenge? Because what our forefathers once denied, in the name of pride and anger, we now embrace in the name of mercy," Jacob declared, his heart pounding with the gravity of the moment. "Together, we can forge a legacy that transcends bloodshed, a lineage that heals nations." The gathered tribes observed in silence, breath held in anticipation, as Nimrod's eyes danced with flickers of hope. Within him stirred a longing for something greater, something beyond the blood-soaked lands that had known only strife. "If your claim is true," he replied cautiously, "then demonstrate it. Show that words alone hold the power to heal." Esau stepped forward, resolute. "Then we will embrace your people. We offer not our weapons, but our hands. Let us feast in brotherhood and strengthen bonds between our families, paving the way for a shared future. The child of promise shall unite us, but we must bear witness to that truth together." As murmurs of approval rippled through the crowd, the tension began to dissolve like morning mist. Nimrod finally nodded, recognizing the weight of their resolve. "Then let it be so. We shall invite each other into fellowship, begin to share stories once lost, and lay the ground for a healing yet to come." As hours turned into days, tables were prepared, laughter seeped through once fractured hearts, and feasts overflowed with bountiful provisions as Jacob and Nimrod orchestrated a reunion between their clans. They shared tales of ancestry, dreams of future generations, and the common humanity that lay beneath the divisions woven by history. Through these moments, the divine tapestry grew visible, thread by thread, the promises of the covenant intertwining with the stories of their families, igniting a generational desire for both healing and unity. And then, in the midst of the feasting, under the sacred canopy of heaven, a child was born, not yet seen, but known in the heart of God. A beacon, a descendant who would rise to guide the nations toward the one who offers peace in the face of conflict, the one whose heart beats in tune with redemption. As the sun began to set on this pivotal day, painting the sky with strokes of gold and crimson, Jacob recognized the atmosphere shifting, a conjoining of destinies, where each soul felt the pull of divine purpose. "Indeed, we are the carriers of God's promises," he breathed, gratitude swelling within him. Yet unbeknownst to them, beyond the shifting horizons, challenges loomed ever present. Hearts would be tested, alliances would be fractured as the effects of fragile humanity grappled against divine aspiration. Yet together, they faced forward, grounded in the assurance that where two or more are gathered in unity, the promise of God's everlasting covenant shall not be forsaken. As their lanterns flickered against the twilight, they became living testimonies, walking forward as a unified family of promise, destined to witness the unfolding miracles ensconced in their faith, and eternally linked to the sacred thread of God's sovereign resolve. Let these words pierce your heart, for dear friends, are you ready to join in the tapestry? Don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony. Subscribe immediately to our channel to stay connected to God's Word and to not miss the next powerful biblical stories. Leave a like now to help spread God's Word through the algorithm, making it accessible to every seeker searching for truth. Comment your spiritual reflections and how this biblical story impacted your faith. Together, let us shine the light of His promise across the world. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth as true believers, understanding the urgency of our calling.